Test 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody, to another video from We Don't Miss. If this is your first time to the channel, we discuss everything about making you the best version of yourself through fitness, nutrition, routine, and just self-belief. Today, we're going to be going down the rabbit hole of a topic of last video's conversation, resilience, but we're going to spin it into a new topic, which is finding your circle, finding the right people, and surrounding yourself with the right people to accomplish your goals. I first and foremost want to start with there's two phases essentially to everybody's daily life. Well, three: your personal life, your work life, and sleep. And we're not even going to discuss sleep because there's not a whole lot going on there that you can do to be super productive except get good sleep. But I want to first dive into struggles that people have at work and how that differs from people's personal struggles. And they don't really differ that much, but how people handle them differ immensely. And I don't know why. And let me explain. In a work environment, unless you work by yourself, completely alone, which is very few people, most people work at least with one other coworker or on a team. When you go to work, you expect there to be problems, issues to resolve, goals to achieve, timelines to meet. And keeping that in mind, when you hit a brick wall or a hurdle, you rely on the people around you to succeed at whatever goal you're trying to achieve. So I find it strange that people feel very comfortable in the work environment approaching a mentor or a superior or somebody that is more talented or has more experience than them, and they lean on them for help. Yet in our personal lives, we tend to pull back when we face adversity and when we face challenge. And as I've discussed this in previous videos, I believe it's because social media and people in real life tend to only paint a rosy picture of what is going on in their life. And that's not a bad thing. And let me explain why. It would be a total drag if you went to a get together with friends and you decided to engage with somebody that you've never met before. You got through all the pleasantries. Hey, what do you do for work? Where do you live? Are you married? Do you have kids? What do you do for fun? And then all of a sudden, that person just launches into a diatribe about how everything in their life is falling apart. They hate their job. They're falling behind on their mortgage. They just broke up with a person that they were in a long-term relationship with. They're considering moving. They need to lose weight. They wish they made more money, and the list goes on and on and on. And we know as human beings, that is not what's going to attract other people to want to speak with you. So we tend to, with people that we don't know too intimately, we tend to only discuss the highlights of our life. And especially that's magnified on social media, where all people are putting out as highlights because that's what gets the likes. So what that causes is when people have issues and troubles in their real life, they find it hard to seek out, or they're unwilling to seek out people to help them because they are scared or nervous that if they unload their problems on somebody, that other person is not going to be receptive, or they may not have the answer, or they're just going to blow you off like, man, this person is just always a Debbie Downer and a fun suck because they're always just talking about the things that are going wrong in their life. So identifying that those are the social norms, let's forget about work and let's just talk about our personal life, starting with surrounding yourself with the appropriate circle. Everyone has somebody in their life that is willing to help. And notice I didn't say everyone has somebody in their life that they're related to, or a best friend, or a mentor, because these things are not given in everybody's life. If you do have somebody in your life like that, you are completely blessed, and you should cherish that person, and you should let them know occasionally that you really appreciate their support. If you have somebody in your life like that, you already know who that go-to person is, and that's great. Utilize them. If you do not have somebody in your life like that, let's break that down real quick. So let's say you don't have a parental figure that you look up to, and you don't have any siblings, or you don't have any siblings that you look up to. Now it's time to search outside of the household. Do you have any friends that you respect? Out of those friends, do those friends have parents that you respect? Is there a teacher that seems it seems very clear when they speak to you? It's almost like they're speaking directly to you instead of the class. That is somebody that you can approach as a mentor. Do you have a coach on a team? Is there somebody in the gym that you see that's just getting after it and is your own age? That's somebody you can hit up. But this is going to require stepping outside of your comfort zone, because people that do have family members, you've been with those people your entire life. If you have a friend that you've known for a decade or longer, that's a very easy approach. But if you don't have anybody, I heard somebody the other day say that when they were going through the trials and tribulations of their life, which in this individual's life included uh, drugs and committing crimes in their youth, and they said that when they were young, they thought that the reason that they were acting like this is because all the other people around him were acting like this. And so that was the norm. And that if you were searching for something else, any positive influences, there were really no positive influences out there. Fast forward in this individual's life, a decade later or more, he said that those people were always there. He just wasn't looking in the right place. So if you are surrounding yourself with people that are not high achievers and don't have goals like you have, those aren't the people that you should really be speaking to, which leads to my next point. When you're seeking help, there's two things that happen. When you hit adversity, most people, unless you're just tough as nails and already have this figure out, which is then you should just stop this video because this doesn't pertain to you. The first thing that happens when you hit a brick wall is you become your own worst enemy, and that voice in the back of your mind starts talking to you saying, you can't do this. You're not smart enough. You're not cut out for this. Nobody in your family has ever achieved this before. Nobody in your social circle, nobody in your neighborhood that you're from has ever achieved this or thought of goals this big. It's just not going to happen. So you retreat inward. And then when you retreat inward, you're inside your own head. And if you make it through those hurdles, which usually those thoughts kind of dissipate a day or two or a week after the event occurred that caused you to feel this way, then you start saying, okay, how do I figure this out? And all these thoughts are running through your head. And if you're like me, because I say this in all videos, when I say you, I mean me, you start drawing a roadmap of how you're going to get from where you are to where you want to be. And that roadmap includes you doing this and you doing that and you not doing this and you doing more of the other thing. And rarely in that roadmap do you explicitly put a point on that timeline that says, and at this point, I'm going to reach out to this person, this family member, this friend, this person at the job who seems to be excelling, this person in school. Because earlier when I talked about jobs, if you're in school and you don't have a job yet because you're young, school is your job. So if you're not succeeding at academics, who in your class seems to just be crushing it? Are there tutors available? Does your teacher have after hours time? A lot of teachers, like when I went to school, they had assistants that would help them. And so you could go not directly to the teacher, but to their assistant, which was probably a grad student that was studying to be a teacher, writing a thesis, and their after hours job was to help undergrad students. So there's all these different resources. The problem is with me personally, I tend to want to go in it alone because somehow in my head, I feel like I got myself into this situation and it's nobody else's problem. It's at mine. And I'm doing somebody a disservice by unloading my burdens on them. So now I need to find a way out on my own. And if I stay quiet long enough and just hide in the shadows and just gut it out, and finally I'm successful on the end, nobody will be the wiser that I went through all these struggles. I've had a lot of achievements in my life, and people that don't know me very well will hear about the things that I've done. A 22-year military career, I have this YouTube channel. I had a podcast that was way more successful than this YouTube channel that I ran for a lot longer. I got a master's degree. It's getting my MBA. I got a job that I'm very successful in and make a decent amount of money, nice house, nice cars, like all these things. And I've heard people say, like, it must be nice. Or when they do see me struggle, they'll say, well, this must be difficult for you to go through since you've just been so wildly successful at all these other things and it seemed to come so easy. And that could be that's so far from the truth. I'm just very good at hiding my struggle and I internalize it. And it's not like I'm trying to put on a facade. I just do exactly what I said. Hey, this isn't your problem. This is my problem. I'll make it through. However, I've been in situations in my 22-year military career, and I'm currently going through one with the job change now that I'm retired from the military and I have a new job where I'm learning a whole different company, a whole different job, a whole different culture, a whole different business dynamic. And when I was in the military for 22 years at the end of my career, I had enough rank and enough experience that I knew that culture. I knew the military. I knew the operational pace to where things really weren't that difficult. It was kind of just the norm because that's what they paid me. They paid me to be the expert, the systems matter expert at all these things because I've deployed multiple times and I had a lot of time under my belt. I joined before 9/11. I got out just this past September in 2023. So I spent almost my entire career in combat. So it was really easy when they asked me to be in some kind of instructor or leadership position to just pass down the information that I had and teach the people the right tactics and techniques and procedures to be successful. But now I'm in a position where I'm struggling. And it's not because I'm not smart. It's not because I'm not good at my job. It's just because it's completely different than what I'm used to doing. Like I said, different culture, different environment, different company, different rules, different procedures. And so I did exactly what I mentioned is I retracted. But I'm trying to give you the gift of what I know is that after that retraction, I came out of that and said, okay, I've tried this on my own. I'm not as successful. I am not being as successful as I should be. What do I need to do? So I just started picking up the phone. I started texting everybody in my job that when I went through training, they were like, hey, let me know if you need help. I started calling people who are currently in my job, but like 2 or 3 years ahead of me and asking them, hey, I'm struggling at this. What did you do? What should I do? What recommendations do you have? I called my training department and said, hey, I need extra help, whatever it takes. And I gave up my ego and said, even if I got to be rolled back in the training process, I'd rather go through these classes or these computer-based trainings again in order to, when I'm doing the job for real, I'm as proficient as possible. And it was only then when I started to reach out, which before that, you're kind of, I was kind of in a state of despair. Starting those thoughts start to creep in where you're like, maybe this isn't right for you. Maybe the military is what you knew, and this is so different that you're not going to be able to adapt. And telling myself all these sad, woe is me stories. And then it was actually my wife, God bless her, who listened to all my complaints, listened to what I was struggling with. And she gave me a couple of days to process. And then she just came in the kitchen one day when I was having a positive moment in my training. And she's like, yeah, see, like this is the old you, like you're feeling positive, keep that momentum going. And just most of all, like get off your ass. Let's go. Like, let's do this. You can do this. This company hired you because they wanted you. They wouldn't have hired you if they didn't think you could do it. And they're investing extra training in you. They've already invested tons of money in you. They've already told you that they want you to be successful. They told you that they want you here at this company. And I was just like, man, that's like, thank you. Thank you for that message. And that's the message that I'm trying to put out to you. Hear me out on this. It's only people below you. And when I say below you, I'm not talking about as a human being. I'm not judging anybody on who they are as a human being, because I cannot do that from the position that I'm in and would not do that. But it tends to be only the people below you that, one, look at where you're going and they say, like, why are you doing that? I don't understand. Like, why do you have to push yourself so hard? Why are you always trying to achieve success? Do you really need that much money? What are you trying to do? Win awards or a trophy? Those are people that gave up on their dreams, and all they're trying to do is tell you why you shouldn't do what you want to do, because they're trying to justify what they didn't do or what they already gave up on. It is extremely rare, if not never, that somebody that is above you and excelling and in a position that you want to be will look at you and say those same things. Usually what they're saying is, come on over, let me give you the skills. Because most people, unless they're just a total dirtbag, they really want to help you. They want to help you succeed. Not only do they want to help you, they want to give you the lessons that they had or that they learned in their long journey. So, like, let's say their timeline was 1 year start to finish for when they started something to where they became highly proficient. And you're at the beginning of the journey. And they're like, if I could share everything that I did wrong with you, you could shave 4 months, 5 months, 6 months off that timeline and be where I'm at right now. Those are the people that you need to talk to, because not only are they sharing the knowledge, they're giving you a shortcut to success. So, those are the people that you need to look for. And while you're looking for those people, now let's talk about you and the way that you present these issues that you have to individuals, these failures or these roadblocks. There's two different ways that you present these. And we all do both of these ways, and they're all both fine. You just have to realize that there's a time and a place, and one should be a short mindset and one should be a long-term mindset. The short-term mindset is that when you hit adversity, you're like, shit, what do I do now? This is not working out. I just need to clear my head. And you go have a couple beers, or you go for a hike, or you go watch the game, or have a poker night, or you do whatever. And you just do something to totally distract yourself from that burden. And that's good. That's healthy. Like, I totally recommend you do that, unless you're like on a time crunch and finals are tomorrow. You can't do that. You need to study. But you take a little time to decompress. And in that decompression, what you usually do when you're hanging out with your friends is you're kind of kicking around these ideas, right? You're kind of openly bitching, which is blowing off steam, which is perfectly fine. Now, there's two sides of this. So let's talk about the first one, which is how you're talking to people. One, are you just complaining? Are you just telling people that you failed at something, or you're hitting adversity, and now you're playing the blame game and pointing fingers and my boss this and my coworker that? Or are you talking to somebody and saying, I don't think I did as well as I could have because of this, and I need to develop some kind of game plan, which should be what I'm telling you about right now, which is finding a leader and a mentor or somebody that's already successful and approaching them so you can be successful like them. So those are the two things you can do. You can either bitch and whine and moan, which is going to do nobody any good unless you're just blowing off steam for a night. Cool, I'll give you one night to do that. But then you have to address the actual problems and where your shortcomings are, and then develop a path to get over those shortcomings and become successful. Now, part two of that is, who are you talking to? So it's a two-part combination. So the two people that you're talking to are the people that are, I don't want to say below you because that sounds really negative, but not as successful as you and have no intentions of being as successful as you, or people that are in a position to help you. So now put those two together and let's do a combination. Do you think you bitching and complaining at the bar to somebody that is not as successful and has no dreams and goals of aspirations of doing anything remotely close to what you're trying to achieve? Do you think bitching to them, that out of their mouth is going to come the solutions that are going to set you free and have you be successful? No. So, second scenario, you're bitching and moaning and complaining to somebody that's super successful, and you possibly want them to help you, but now this person is looking at you going, this person like is not succeeding, but I don't really see anywhere in this conversation where they like want to succeed or that they have a plan to succeed, and they're not really asking for my help. They're just kind of venting. Maybe this isn't even really the person. Like if I was working with you or they were working with you, they'd be like, maybe this isn't really even the person that I want working with me, because if they're always going to be in this state of mind where, oh, everything's too tough, we're not going to succeed, like that's not a go-getter. That's not the person that I want on my team. Now let's mix it up with the positive dialogue of, hey, this is what I did wrong. This is what happened. This is where I need to improve. And now you're talking to somebody that's not as successful as you. Same outcome as outcome A. They're just going to listen to you talk and they're going to go, yeah, cool. Like you should do all that. Like, I hope it works out. Sweet. Do you want another beer? Okay. That might feel good for a second, but did that really help you? Now you have the final combination, which is the winning combination, which is you've already bitched and moaned to your friend. Now you're on a path to try and find out why you failed and what you can put in place in order to succeed. And now you're talking to somebody who's more successful than you or in a position you want to be in. And they're like, dang, not only is this person hitting adversity, but they went through the adversity. Now they've crossed over that hurdle and now they're starting to develop a plan on what they want to do. Now they're seeking me out for help, which makes me feel good because they're identifying my strengths. And now I have a chance to share my wisdom with them. This is the kind of growth that I need on my team. This is the kind of person and this is the kind of attitude I want on my team. Let's see if this person can learn, how fast they can learn. They want to be successful. And then you're off to the races. So out of all those combinations that I gave you, there's only one true combination that's going to lead to success. So let's recap. Work versus life. Work, there's inherent troubles that you know you're going to run into, so you don't feel bad or awkward about approaching your boss, who that's what they're there for, or your manager or people around you, your team. That's the reason you're on a team. You have no problem approaching them with a problem and saying, hey, this is the problem, or the team approaching you and including you in a problem and saying, hey, what do you think? And then you give your opinion. So why in your real life do you think that if you have issues, all of a sudden you need to retract from everybody who is your team in life, i.e., your family, your friends, your spouse, your significant other, a coach, a mentor, a workout buddy, a sports friend, a whomever you hang out with? You should be willing to approach them. Now, with the caveat of not all the time, because that makes you a whiner, but you have to know the right people to confide in. So treat life like work in that manner and make sure that you put that mentorship on your timeline, on your road to recovery, i.e., your road to success. So that includes identifying the problem, treating life like work, finding the right person to talk to, and then when you're talking to that person, make sure that you're using the right dialogue. We always said in the military, if you have a problem and you come to me, you better damn sure have a solution as well, or at least multiple options that we can choose from, so we have a path forward. So if you're talking to the right person, you've evaluated the problem, you've evaluated your shortcomings, you've thrown out a couple ideas on the way to success or what you think the road to success looks like, then they tweak it, get you going in the right direction. Then you rinse and repeat that process over and over and over again. And there is no end to it. There is never any end to a positive mindset, a successful mindset, taking complete ownership of your failures and identifying the holes in your games, where you're successful, where you're not succeeding, and then approaching the right person or the right group of people to help you get there. That, my friend, is how you stay resilient and get over these hurdles. Don't be one of those people, which this has happened to me. When I say you, I mean me. You sulk for a day, a week, a month. Some people get in these ruts that last years. And the longer you let this rut go on without establishing a proper dialogue and putting the right people around you, nothing's going to change. Like the saying goes, nothing changes if nothing changes. So change your perspective on this issue and these shortcomings and your little failures. Know that you've already gone through tons of shortcomings and failures and come out on the other side more successful than you were. And now that's just a blip on the radar. And this too, my friend, will just be another blip on the radar. Stay positive. See you on the next video.